Hello summer schemers and welcome back. I'm Kelly for some more Make and Create. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of drawing masterclass. So we're going to draw ourselves a cow, one of our most trickiest challenges yet, but with my help it'll be no bother at all. And then we're going to transform our drawing into this amazing bad boy. What do you think? A collage cow, and it looks fantastic. But first, before we go ahead and make our cow, we have a special guest. It's the one and only Simon Cowell. Now, he's just outside at the moment. I didn't want to bring him in, with lockdown and everything. So just wait there and we'll go and meet him. So we're just going outside here to see Simon Cowell. Hello Simon, how are you? You're looking amazing as always. Thanks very much for coming over to see us. I'm so delighted. Now let's take a look at you, Simon. Oh Simon, look at your eyes, look at your eyelashes, just so gorgeous. Oh, and who's this? You brought your son Eric with you. Hello Eric, you're very welcome here. Would you like tea, coffee, maybe milk? Milk? Oh, you know what? Maybe it better be dairy-free milk. Oh, I completely forgot. Sorry, Simon, I completely forgot. Oh dear, oh dear. Anyhow, I think you're going to have to be the inspiration for our next drawing, Simon. Okay, we're going to do some drawing, and you need a sort of a big piece of paper for this, bigger than like a piece of computer paper, A4. You need an A3 size. Or you could be like me and not find any A3 and just use the back of a piece of wallpaper. Anything you have that's a bit larger and you can draw on it. So we're going to start with drawing our cow. Now, whenever I like to draw a cow, I always like to start with the nose, believe it or not. So to do this, we need to kind of draw like a puddle. All right, and the puddle needs to be about the same length as my Sharpie, the grey part of my Sharpie. So we're going to start by drawing ourselves kind of like a bit of a puddle, like so. Doesn't matter if it's a little bit wonky. So we have ourselves a wonky circle, and then what we want to do is we want to draw a larger wonky circle around the outside, like that. And we'll just pop on some nostrils so we know it's a cow's nose and we've got a bit of a reference point. Okay, and we're just going to do the little mouth at the bottom. Adjust this camera a little bit so you can see. There we go. Now the next part's a little bit trickier, okay. What we do is we need to decide where the top of the cow's head is. So I'm just using my fingers to get kind of the width of the larger circle that we're just after doing. I'm going to go 1, I'm going to go 2, and wherever my top finger is, I'm just going to make a wee mark just above. So that's just pretty much in the center of the nose, okay. And now what we're going to do is we want the next mark to be near enough the same kind of width as our big nose. So I'm just going to do a mark a little bit lower, this, some pencil, just so I can get a good idea of how big to make the cow's head. So basically this next stage, I'm going to draw a line which is going to go right around. I need it to start about 1 centimeter in from the edge, okay, because the cow's nose comes straight in like this here. All right, so I hope you can see the shape that I'm going to draw now. So it's a little bit trickier, but if you take your time and watch this video, you'll be able to figure out how. I'm going to start at the very top of the cow's head, all right, and I'm going to take the line, swing it out to the outside. I'm looking at the bottom dot and I'm driving the pen in to meet it. I'm going to do the same on the other side. I'm starting at the top dot, and then I'm basically looking at the bottom dot, and by miracle my pen ends up where I was looking. We've got this kind of diamond shape above its head. Now the next part is going to be the center of the cow's head, all right, and to do that I'm just going to choose somewhere in between that top line, okay, somewhere in between this top line. I'm going to take it down to about 1 centimeter in again, do my little wee marks, and I can see. And this time I'm just going to curve it down, and I'm just basically as a curve going to look at this bottom line down here. Curve in, bottom line, and then the line will meet it, like so. Okay, we're nearly at finished. Doesn't it come along just so easy? Now a couple ears to be done, and the ears need to be probably the same width as this nose circle. Okay, and we start at just above the kind of the knobby bit, and we do a leaf shape. So, and the same on the other side. Try and make them the same if you can, like so. And all is missing now is some eyes. And to do the eyes, I just do a little half circle and I start it just above the ear. See where the joint of the ear is? I'm just going to start it above the ear and do a little curve. And this is the tricky part, making the second one the same size. Did I get it? Near enough. And we need to have an eyeball. So I'm just going to draw a curve on each side, like so. And when I do the eyeball, when I colour it in, I like to leave a little spot of white, just like this, just to show it's picking up the light. I'll colour it in. Go. And we mustn't forget big eyelashes, just like Simon Cowell. And a wee tuft on top, give it a bit more detail around the ears. That's looking pretty good, I think. Well done, guys. So I hope you enjoyed drawing the cow. Now, would you like it to take it up to the next level? Would you like to transform your drawing into something that looks like this? A pretty snazzy looking cow with collage, and it was really easy. All you need is pencil and you need some scraps of paper. So what I did is I hunted the house for some paper. I found things like a napkin, bits of tissue, some newspaper with lovely images, lots of bits of pieces of paper that I had lying about, some wrapping paper as well. Okay, so whatever pieces of paper I had scrap around the house, I've gathered them into a pile, and as I go I'm just going to make them into certain shapes. I'm going to tear them into shapes, but before we do that we need to do a bit of planning, and this is actually quite an important part. Okay, so I've got my pencil, and amazing part about the collage is you actually kind of do it the opposite way to how you drew it. So remember how we ended more or less with the ears last? Well, this is the part we do first. So we're just going to put a 1 each of the ears, so with our pencil, and then we're going to give these two sections a 2, and then we're going to put this middle section, we're going to give it 3, and then his little mouth, we're going to give that a 4, the outer ring, we're going to give it a 5, and the last bit that's going to go on is his nose, number 6. Okay, so we're going to begin with our 1s, which are the ears, and I want just some pieces of wrapping paper for that, or whatever I fancy actually. So I fancy this bit of kind of giraffe design. I think that'd be quite cool. So to do this, I just literally fold a piece in half, and I want to rip 2 pieces at the same time. So see how it's ripped in half, it's folded in half, just like that. I'm just going to rip 2 pieces at the same time into kind of a leaf shape. So I'm literally just ripping kind of a curve, and I'm coming back on myself. I get this here, and you're probably saying, well, that looks nothing like an ear. Let's see if it's anything like our shape that we need. When you open it, no, it's a little bit too wide, so I'm just literally going to give it another bit of a trim using my fingers, make it a bit skinnier. So we'll open it up. There we go. I think that's going to make a fantastic ear. Now, what else do we have that I'd like to rip? This ripping business is fantastic. What about this here? So I'm just going to fold it in half. Fold it a little bit. You don't want to be too wasteful. And I'm just going to tear it just like we did a little while ago. So you can be pretty rough and ready with this. You don't have to worry too much. Now, have we got the right size? Okay. Okay, it's a little bit smaller than the last bit. So I've decided to speed up the next sequence because effectively it's fairly straightforward. You just get some wrapping paper or tissue or newspaper that you're happy with, and you fold it a little bit, and so you can make the leaf shape in a sort of a handy way. And you might need to do a bit of resizing. Always better to make it a bit bigger than you actually need, because you can always make it smaller. You just flip it around and you can get the sort of the shape all right. It doesn't matter actually if it's a bit bigger than the size that you need, because we're layering paper over top and it will hide a lot of the kind of mistakes. You can see here that I just needed to make this a bit skinnier just so it's more in keeping with the number 2 shape. The number 3 shape is probably the trickiest of all the shapes. I'm using a serviette or napkin, and because it's sort of half see-through, I'm just using kind of the way I can see the lines underneath to actually shape the piece of tissue a bit better. But I mean, in today, if it was just some wrapping paper, you can easily guess a bit wider at the top, getting skinnier down to the nose, and a bit wider at the bottom. So those are our main components, I suppose, of the face. We're just going to set them aside, and now we're going to concentrate on the mouth area and the nose. The number 4 is our next number, and we just need a little bit of oval shaped paper. So I'm just getting some of the stripy paper here, and I'm going to shape it into a bit of a circular shape. So I've started off with a rectangle, and then I'm kind of smoothing around the edges just so it can be a bit more sort of oval shaped. I'm happy with that. And then we're going to do one of the final pieces, number 6. And I've got this lovely sparkly wrapping paper here, and it's already got spots on it. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to go with the spots and use it actually for nostrils. But I mean, if you have some wrapping paper or whatever it is, and it hasn't got spots on it already, you can just draw the nostrils on with a marker pen after. So I'm happy with all those pieces that are now been shaped. I'm just going to set them kind of to the side in logical locations so I can remember which the 1s and the 2s. So now we're going to do the exciting part. We're going to do the sticking on. So to do this, I've just got a glue stick. You can use PVA otherwise, and I'm just placing the pieces on the respective numbers. Remember, you can actually number the pieces on the opposite side if you think you might lose track of which is the number 1 and number 2, but I'm just sticking on the number 2s at the moment and making sure that if there's any overlap, I'm popping a wee bit of glue on just to ensure there's complete coverage. Now I'm going to stick on number 3, and this was our piece of serviette. And you can see it covers up a lot of the imperfections underneath, so you can really see the cow coming together, and you can really understand why we followed the sequence. So the mouth goes on, it's half covered by the big nose, and this is the final piece, the nostrils. And remember, you can just use a marker pen to demonstrate where the nostrils are. Now we just need the eyes to be done, and for this I've got a piece of white paper. Well, I'm just using a scrap, and I'm positioning it a wee bit so I have a good idea of the size of the eye that I need to draw just to help me, but I'm going to double it up, and the reason for this is that I can actually cut it in half and I get 2 eyes from 1. Now I'm using scissors for this. If you have no scissors, you can rip it, or if you're a wee bit young, just rip it, okay, for safety. Remember not to use the kitchen scissors or anything too sharp. Use proper children craft scissors. So just gluing them on, and now I'm going to get my marker pen. I'm going to draw the pupils, and the pupils are really the part that makes the eyes kind of look amazing. So I'm colouring it as carefully as I can. I'm leaving a little white spot, just like whenever we did our drawing practice earlier. Nearly finished, little white spot. Wow, that looks amazing. I definitely think that that cow has the moo factor, and I do think that Simon Cow would be very delighted. Just a few eyelashes now, just like when we were meeting Simon Cowell outside, and I think our cow is looking fabulous. Now, a wee finishing touch, which is just a bonus, okay, but not essential. I just happen to have these little stick-on gems, and I think as a wee bonus, only if you've got some. Stick a couple just on the twinkle of its eye, and it'll really make Simon pop. Wow. What do you think, guys? I hope you like it. I hope you enjoyed that activity. So simple, all from using scraps that you have around the house. See you again. Bye.